Bonjour everyone! Just a few weeks ago, I was still wearing a jacket in the mornings. But then by last week, the temperature suddenly hit 41 degrees. Spring here isn't just nice weather. It is completely wild in the best and strangest ways. So today I'm showing you exactly what that looks like for our British, Irish, Hungarian family living in France. Stick around because I'm sharing the beautiful side, the chaotic surprises, and why spring became my absolute favorite season here. Before moving from the UK, I never paid that much attention to the seasons. Of course, I looked forward to summer and those few sunny weeks in London, but I was never genuinely excited about spring the way I am now living here. Because spring in the south of France completely changes everyday life. As soon as the weather gets warm, the villages suddenly wake up again. Cafe terraces filled with people laughing and chatting. The Canal du Midi becomes busy with boats and cyclists again, and you can smell the barbecues in the air. The markets completely explode with color too. Delicious strawberries, piles of apricots and cherries, and those incredible early tomatoes that actually taste like real tomatoes.
Yum, yum.
And the nature here is something you must see. In March, you are driving through still sleepy countryside and bare vineyards. And then almost overnight, everything suddenly turns bright green. Fields filled with wild poppies. Trees explode with blossom. Butterflies appear everywhere. And suddenly, even the most ordinary little roads looks beautiful. Sometimes I genuinely slow down on the way to nursery because the scenery is so pretty. And one thing I absolutely love here in spring is how dramatic the smells becomes too. The fields are covered with bright yellow broom flowers that smell so sweet, almost like honey. Wild rosemary grows everywhere. Wisteria spills over old stone walls, and once the sun warms everything up properly, the air smells absolutely incredible. Quite often I actually stop next to random flower bushes on the street just to smell them. A few years ago I genuinely don't think I would have even noticed things like, rosemary's growing along the street, because I was always rushing somewhere. But now I literally stop my walk just to smell the flowers. And one of the biggest things I noticed since moving here is how connected people seem to be to the seasons. As soon as the weather improves, life immediately moves outside. People sit outside until late in the evenings. Children play outside for hours. People suddenly start gardening again, and cafes stay busy even on weekdays. After winter, everything somehow becomes more social, more relaxed, and much more alive. The first spring after moving here felt a little emotional sometimes. I remember one warm evening, last year actually, I was sitting on a bench in a village square and I was watching our children play. And it was so warm, even though it was after 8 p.m. It was such a lovely moment, and I remember thinking that people actually live like this. And another thing I absolutely fell in love with here in spring is the bird songs. Now, I need to be honest with you, I know nothing about birds, but I really love listening to them. And quite recently I spotted a really strange but absolutely beautiful bird sitting in one of our trees. It was black, white and orange with this funny little crest on its head. And after googling it, I found out it was a Eurasian hoopoe. Before moving to the south of France, I never even heard of them. So seeing such a pretty little creature sitting in our garden felt really special. Some days after I drop the kids off to nursery and school, I take Freckle for a quiet, lovely walk before properly starting the day. Those walks become one of my favorite parts of living here. They are peaceful, beautiful, and just incredibly relaxing. Freckle absolutely loves them too, which somehow makes me enjoy them even more. And quite often during those walks, I catch myself thinking about how different my morning used to look just a few years ago. Back then it was trains, tubes, traffic, takeaway coffees, and constantly checking time. Now, sometimes my morning is just walking through vineyards with my dog while listening to the birds. And honestly, I don't think I realized how badly I needed slower mornings and more nature around me before we moved here. But of course, nature here also comes with its own chaotic side. A couple of weeks ago, I accidentally walked near a hunting area with Freckle and suddenly started hearing gunshots close to us. Too close to us. I shared a little more about this in my latest video, but in short, we left the area very quickly. And then a few days later, we found a scorpion in our swimming pool. Yes, a real scorpion. I am not going to lie, it definitely got my blood pressure up a little bit. Now I know that they are actually quite common here in the Languedoc region. And after panic googling it after the incident, I learned that thankfully the small black ones are usually not the dangerous type. They are not dangerous for healthy adults. However, we still need to be a little bit more careful with the children and the dog though. Another thing that we learned quite quickly after moving here is that spring also the season or the time for processionary caterpillars. They can be really dangerous for dogs if they touch or eat them. So I keep a close eye on those caterpillar nests during our walks. They are also quite bad news for humans too, so this is something you must be aware of if you're visiting the area. I spoke about them in one of my previous videos. If you're interested to watch that, I link it below. And of course, there are the mosquitoes. Before we moved here, I tend to think that mosquitoes mainly come out in the evening, but that's not the case here. They tend to be active all day long here. I genuinely feel like I spent quite a considerable amount of time trying to chase mosquitoes away from my children. And then there is another thing in nature that happens to you. Well, if you have dogs. So a couple of times during the last few months when we were out on a walk with Freckle, she managed to find a couple of dead field mice. And of course, she proudly rolled herself all over on them, which was nice. So after coming home and giving her a really thorough bath, she could be stroked again. So nature here is absolutely beautiful, but it's also has its flip side. You move here expecting sunshine, slow living, vineyards and beautiful villages. But then you stay because of the strange little stories and unexpected moments that somehow become part of everyday life.
Little mouse somehow got into our home. Oh, there he goes. Oh, he's off.
And despite all the little chaotic moments, there is something about spring here that feels incredibly peaceful to me. And the best surprise this spring, the sea is already warm enough to swim. We went for our proper first beach day a couple of weeks ago, and I genuinely expected the sea to be quite freezing, but how wrong I was. The water was actually really lovely and not cold at all. Even the children ran straight into the waves looking for fish and little crabs with daddy like it was the middle of August. The beach was busy enough to feel lively, but still calm and relaxed. And honestly, moments like that are probably my favorite parts of this life now. Not huge dramatic moments, just tiny everyday things. Warm evenings, laundry drying outside in about 45 minutes because of the heat, fresh strawberries from the market, children running barefoot outside covered in sand and dirt. Although my little boy got a splinter from that a few days ago that had to be removed by a doctor because it was so deep. But luckily he's all fine now. And now I'm just waiting for one more thing that I really like. The constant sounds of cicadas. I still can't hear them, but I know the moment I start hearing that constant singing, summer has officially arrived. Anyways, thank you so much for spending this beautiful but slightly chaotic spring with us. But before you go, I wanted to mention something that might be helpful. One of the questions I get asked the most is what moving to France is really like, behind the beautiful photos and holiday experiences. If you are interested moving to France yourself, I put together a free relocation mini guide based on what we learned during our move here. Just comment mini guide below and I send you a link. And if you are looking for something much more detailed, I also created a 51 pages honest relocation guide covering administration, healthcare, housing realities, timelines, emotional adjustment, and many of the other things nobody warned us about before we moved. But for now, thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one. A bientôt!